Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Nikhilesh. Today I would like to give you a demo on RPA. In this session, I'm going to explain you what RPA is, how it is different from the traditional automation tools, RPA benefits, RPA software tools in the market, and prerequisites to install an RPA software. So let's get started. RPA stands for Robotic Process Automation. So what is robotic in here? Mimicking the human actions in the same way that he or she does is said to be robotic. If you look at this picture, a physical robot is mimicking the user action called shake hand, right? And it can even answer the questions asked by the humans, right? So the physical robots are configured, are programmed in such a way to act like human and work like human beings, right? So, but in RPA context, robot means not a physical robot, it's a software robot. And what is said to be a software robot? Any machine within which RPA software is installed is called a software robot. And that machine could be a laptop or desktop, or that could even be a server, right? And RPA software could be UiPath, Blue Prism, Automation Anywhere, Pega, Nice, etc. There are so many software tools available in the market. And if any of those softwares are installed inside the machine, and that machine is said to be a software robot. And we are gonna have these software robots mimic the user actions, right? So what kind of user actions we're gonna get done with these software robots? Let us see that. So before that, let me explain you what process in RPA is. So sequence of meaningful activities that will make up a process. But in RPA context, process means a business process. Every business organization has got their own business processes, right? In general life, if you take an example for process, preparing a coffee or dish could be a process because it involves sequence of steps. As you see in here, uh, these sequence of steps are required to prepare a coffee, right? In real time, order to cash is one of the key business processes in ERP business organizations, which involves sequence of steps as you see here. So in Amazon or Flipkart, when we place an order, that is a purchase order for ourselves because we are purchasing it. And that will be a sales order for the organizations because they are selling it. So what they do is that as and when we place an order, that will be created as a sales order in SAP systems using VA01 T code. And once the sales order is created, the goods delivered to customer will happen. That means from the inventory, the good will be picked, packed, and shipped to the customer address. And that is called goods delivered to the customer. And once the good is successfully delivered to the customer, the same details will be updated in SAP systems against the sales order using VL01 T code. And once that is done, invoice will be sent out to the customer. And the invoice detail will be updated against the sales order number in SAP using VF01 T code. And once the customer pays the invoice amount, that will be received by the organization. And that would be updated in SAP systems using F28 T code. So this is a business process. This is one of the business process in ERP business organizations. So here you can see, certain mundane tasks, right? Repetitive tasks, creating sales order. As and when a sales order is created, right? So the end users of the business organization, the employee of the business organization would receive some list of invoices, some list of sales orders in an email, right? So he would be creating sales order for each and every transaction item present in that Excel. So similarly, and once the goods are delivered to the customer, the same would be updated against those sales orders list using VL01T code. So like that, these are all mundane processes, right? Repetitive process. So these can be mimicked by the software robots. This can be executed. These business processes can be executed by the software robots. So do you think these software robots would simply execute the business process? The answer is no. They are required to be configured. Okay. So they are required to be configured, and that configuration is called as automation. So let us see what automation definition is. So sequence of steps are activities which are performed without any human interference once configured is called as automation. So if any task is performed without any human interference, we call that task as automated task, right? So here you can see it's a car manufacturing industry wherein uh, the machinery are present are which are doing the welding work and the painting work for the cars, right? So it was earlier used to be carried out by the people, but ever since this machinery is introduced, the task has been automated and the manual workforce was replaced, right? So automation is not new to the industry. So you can see that uh, like in car manufacturing sector or any manufacturing sectors, agricultural sector, pharmaceutical sector, and even in software testing. Okay, so putting all the definitions together, executing the business process without any human interference using the software robots is called as RPA, robotic process automation. So these robots are required to be configured using the RPA softwares. Okay, so so there are so many vendors as I just told you, that Blue Prism, UiPath, Automation Anywhere. So those are the tools used to develop the bots, develop the automated process, and they can also listen to the commands passed from the server. Okay, so there is a client. It is a client server based architecture. So wherein from the server we can control all the robots. Okay, so the robots can do the manual tasks like receiving the emails, reading the emails, and downloading the attachments, and interacting with the different applications, and sending out the emails, and like that. Okay, and moving on to the next slide. So how it is different from the test automation tools, let me explain you this picture before that. So if a business organization wants to have an application developed to speed up the business process execution, so they will approach an IT company to get an application developed. So what they do is that first, so they will provide all the requirements in the form of BRS, business requirement specification document. So developers will look into that document and prepare TDD, the technical design documents called high level design document, low level design documents, to develop the application. And once the TDD is prepared, technical design documents are prepared, the build development will be started, wherein the developers would use either .NET or Java technology to develop the applications, right? And once they complete the build, the testers would be ready with their scenarios and cases based on the BRS document, and they will start uh, testing the application to check if it is fulfilling the requirements given by the client or not. And like that, if they do testing and they raise the defects, and defects would be raised to the corresponding developers will fix it, and then another build would be given to the testers will need to test that application over again, the retesting should be done, and like that, as and when the change requests come, developer will do the changes in the application, and again another build would be given. So the manual testers would need to do the regression testing to make sure that the existing functionalities are not impacted in the application, right? So that kind of retesting and regression testing would be there for the manual testers to avoid such retesting and regression testing. To avoid manual testing efforts, so automation testing tools are introduced like Selenium, Protractor, UFT, etc. So those are used to reduce the manual effort for testing, right? So like this, the testing procedure will happen. And once the testers confirm that the application is defect free and it is as per the client requirements, then that would be moved from test environment to the pre-prod or UAT environment, wherein the client SME would look the application's behavior if it is working end to end as per the requirements or not. Once he confirms that the application is defect free and it is as expected, then it will be promoted and deployed into the production environment. Okay, and once The application is deployed into the production environment. The employees of the business organization will use the application. And let's say 2 years passed and client has been paying the employees, his employees, for executing the business process. And then he comes to know about RPA solution. Now let us understand what RPA is. So he will provide all the requirements, business process requirements for each and every business process. He will provide the requirements to the organization in the form of PDD, that is called process definition document. So wherein the keystroke level screenshots are available, like how the end user, the employees of the organizations are executing that particular business process. Step by step, steps would be mentioned, and negative scenarios, happy path scenarios, everything would be mentioned out in that. And based out of that, the RPA developers will prepare SDD, that is solution design document, that how the solution is going to be built on a given process. And then once SDD documents are prepared, build bot development will be started. So like in application development lifecycle, so developers will develop the bot and testers will test the bot. There won't be any automation testing in here, just that manual testing would be there, wherein the manual testers will run the bot and verify if the bot is working as per the PDD document and as the end user would work. They will test all the scenarios and cases prepared by them. And once they confirm that the application or the bot is working as the end user's requirement, as per the client requirements, then they will promote the code to UAT environment. In the UAT environment, similarly, as in application development lifecycle, client SME would come and he will verify the end-to-end results. Testers will perform the testing over here, and client SME will verify if all the scenarios are passed or not, end-to-end scenarios are passed or not. And if all the scenarios are passed, then the bot will be deployed into the production, wherein the hypercare will be there. That means a support for the end user, for the client to run the bot. And there will be hyper, that is called hypercare. Basically 3 weeks of hypercare will be there, wherein limited production run. Initially they start off with limited production run, limited production data will be taken, and slowly volume ramp up will happen. So, and that's how the robots will replace the manual workforce. So in other words, replacing the manual workforce with the digital workforce is called as robotic process automation. So the end user, the business client, the business organization can reduce the FTE count. Let's say they can reduce the FTE count to 50 or 100, and they can use the 50 robots in place of the business process execution. Okay. And there are certain differences between test automation and RPA. So let us just see that. So test automation is to test the application functionality, basically to do the retesting and regression testing, right? And RPA is to automate the business process. It's a process automation. And test automation requires testers to write some scripts using programming languages. But whereas RPA doesn't require developers to write any scripting or any code. It's a wizard based tool. You just need to drag and drop the activities on the canvas, and you just need to configure. Okay. And the test automation requires you to make changes in the scripts frequently, as the application is not stable because of the code fixes and CRs. That means here the application is not deployed yet. The developers are still working on the application based on the defects given and change requests given by the client, right? So application is uh, frequently changed. So the test automation is a bit challenging. And here it is post deployment of the application. So application is pretty much stable. So it is easy to maintain. So you might be wondering that why can't we use the test automation tools for RPA solutions? So, but the test automation tools work independently on the machine where they are installed. But whereas in RPA, the tools are controlled from the server. It's a client server architecture based. So all the robots, all the robot missions are controlled or orchestrated from a server. Okay. So these are the major differences between test automation and RPA. So moving on to the next slide. So you might be wondering who and where the RPA solution is being implemented. So in banks, insurance, healthcare, ERP, HR services, financial accounting, HR payroll related work, etc., etc. And why do we require RPA solution? So RPA is a solution to many business organizations to improve their benefits by replacing manual workforce with a digital workforce, right? So instead of having the manual workforce for the routine and mundane tasks, so they can be used, their knowledge and skills can be utilized for creating new tasks or monitoring the bots and attending the business meetings. Okay, so there are certain benefits of RPA solution over manual workforce. Let us just see that. So if the business organizations have RPA solution implemented, there will be 24 by 7 support. Bots can work all the 24 hours, all the 7 days, and all the 365 days in a year. So there is no limitations of time for bot. But whereas manual workforce, the employees can work 9 hours in a day, and they cannot work beyond 9 hours. They cannot work all the 7 days in a week, and they cannot work all the 365 days in a year. So here you can simply compare the productivity levels of robots and the manual workforce, right? So reduced error rate. So as I have just told you, that bot would be tested in different life cycle, different cycles, right? In the test environment, the bot will be tested in couple of cycles, and once the the promotion the code the bot is promoted to the UAT, even in UAT environment, the bot will be tested and all the scenarios would be covered. So if all the cases are handled properly in a bot, the chance of error rate is almost zero. But whereas if there is work pressure to the employees, there is a chance of doing mistakes. There is a saying in English that error is human. That means we tend to do so many mistakes. One mistake would lead to a lot of mistakes, right? So that will be cost to company, right? And moving on to the next slide, average resolution time. Bot takes only execution time and faster than performing the task manually. So bots can be 3 to 4 times faster than performing the task manually. Okay, so the resolution time is very low. They do not play around and they do not chit chat with colleagues. So obviously the resolution time is very low. Average handling time. So bots can handle multitasking. So practically there is no waiting time for a bot. So you can have multiple background processes running and one foreground process running in RPA robots. So the handling time is almost zero. You can have multi bot architecture also. You can give one particular task to different bots. Let's say you have to create 1,000 sales orders. You can have it performed on multiple robots from orchestrator or from control room. You can assign that particular business process to multiple bots, and each and every bot will uh, create the invoices equally. Let's say 250, if you are performing the business process on 4 different bots, so 250 each would be processed by bot, and will time can be pretty much saved. So whereas if the multitasking is given to the employees, right, they may go do yoga or they may bang their heads on the laptop because of the work pressure, right? Reduce cost. You can look at this picture, right? So if there is an employer, right, he would need to be satisfied every now and then by giving hikes in the salary and medical allowances, travel allowances, food allowances, bonuses, and every now and then they are required to be satisfied. Otherwise, there is a chance of resigning the job, right? Employees may resign the job. So that's that's cost to company again, right? So if you have RPA solution implemented, bots need not be given salary hikes, medical allowances, because they don't get tired and they don't have any family to roam around, and These are all savings to the company. So having said all the reasons, all the benefits of RPA, and the deliverables would be given in shorter span of time, well advanced. So obviously the customer would be satisfied, right? There will be increased customer satisfaction. So the business organizations are interested to have RPA solution implemented. Yeah. And moving on to the next slide. So these are the software tools available in the market. So there are so many, but these are the major tools available in the market, like Group Prism, UiPath, Automation Anywhere, Nice, Edgeverb, Work Fusion, and even Microsoft is also into RPA. So with the tool called Power Automate. Prerequisites to install an RPA software. Hardware requirements being CPU with 1.4 GHz, 32-bit or above. RAM should be 4 GB or above. Software requirements being Windows operating system and Windows 7 or above. And a .NET framework 4.6 or above should be installed. And there should be uh, Microsoft SQL Server database should be installed. And Express Edition will do if it is uh, installed for, if the software is installed for practicing purpose as a standalone machine, right? So if it is for enterprise purpose, you need to have Enterprise Edition installed. And RPA softwares are, Microsoft family, part of Microsoft family. So that's the reason you need to have Windows and installed, and then Microsoft .NET framework installed, and Microsoft SQL Server should be installed. That is it for the demo. You, I hope the session is informative. If you like the video, please do subscribe it and click the bell icon. Thank you.